Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Brittany Howard, Diamond Ambassador, and tonight we have a very special treat. My dear friend Jaime Haskin, who's also a Diamond Ambassador, is going to be sharing with us her story and obstacles that she's overcome on her way to Diamond, her top tips. And she's so wise, y'all. So Jaime is just a little family tree for you guys. Jamie, you can go ahead and say hi so everybody sees your video.
Yeah.
There's Jamie. So Fallon is my direct upline. And under Fallon, there's me, and also my direct sideline is Tiffany Wilson, who's a diamond. Under Tiffany is Jamie. So Jamie's Fallon's level 2, I'm Fallon's level 1. So she's my side, Jamie's my sideline. And she has been building this business, I'm pretty sure almost as long as I have. Right, Jamie? What year did you
Yeah,
join?
2015.
Okay. All right. So almost as long as I've joined in 2013.
Yeah.
So anyways, Jamie, when I first met her, was so timid and so shy. And now she is just a leader that you would go to ask for advice about leadership. Like she just gets it. She's confident now. Like I've just watched her blossom, and it really has been such a transformation to just see her grow in confidence. And now she puts herself out there, crazy successful, and also the sweetest person on the planet to boot. I mean, she's everybody's best friend because y'all, I don't think I've ever heard Jamie say a negative word about anybody ever. And that is special. So that makes people trust her, and it makes her a great friend. And she's also a really good listener, and she's super smart. All right, Jamie, no pressure.
Girl. That was like the
Not
best intro
everybody's
ever.
well, we just love you, Jamie. Okay, we really did. So, all right, so let's just jump in. I'm gonna turn it over to you, but the first question is share your story with us and your timeline for how long it took you to hit each rank.
Yes. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Brittany. So my timeline, I just said I started in 2015, and I'll kind of walk my story along with that. So when I started, I was literally only for preventative health. My mom had just gotten diagnosed with what my grandma had, and I thought I should take care of myself before waiting for something to come my way. So I was looking for no results, which is why I think everybody and their brother needs to be on these products. It doesn't matter if you have results right away or not, or, whatever. So not looking for results. But right away, the opportunity started being dripped to me. And it was not just a one-time thing. It was, hey, you could get your products paid for. And that was very intriguing to me because the cost factor was, we didn't normally budget for supplements. I was never on supplements before. So that was attractive. And then Tiffany sent me the compensation plan, the full one. And most people probably would not like that, but I dove in and read every little thing. And it was a belief builder right there in terms of, I remember seeing the breakdown of, you get 3 people and they get 3, and how that compounds to basically the top. And that was, I did not have a big network. I did not know a lot of people. I didn't feel like I was super popular, but I knew 3 people. I got some close friends, right? So that was a factor there. And then also just starting off right away with them saying, you can do what I do. I'll do it with you. If you have questions, I can have the answers. That helped with my kind of fears of the unknown, of lack of competency. I didn't know anything about health and wellness or about these products, let alone, right? So that was kind of the beginning, and we started sharing, and it was just kind of exciting right away. But we did a 3-way call very early on, and that was pivotal because vision and belief were casted in a really big way. I was on the phone with Tiffany and Fallon. They were only silver and senior gold or senior gold at the time. And they said, we are going to the top. These are products that everyone needs, company that's incredible, compensation plan, and we're learning from diamonds who did it before. We're going to do what they did. We are going to the top. You can come with us too. And right then I knew, I had no doubt. I wasn't thinking, I wonder if they'll go to the top. I knew they were going to go to the top. They were that confident and had belief and vision. But now I could come too, right? They had that belief in me. And it was in that moment that I was like, okay, if I do what they do, why can't I go with them? Why can't I as well? And so I made a very specific choice. I remember this. I remember my mindset shift of saying, I am going to say yes to whatever they tell me to do. And I remember thinking that it was a choice. Our mindset is a choice. What we want to focus on is a choice. And I knew that that was going to come with being uncomfortable in some things and things that, you know, I was nervous about or afraid in or whatever it was, but I made that decision and that stuck with me throughout my entire journey. So in that moment, I also had a point where the destination became clear right there, right? It was, okay, we're going to Diamond. It was never, you know, we're going to go for this next rank. It was never, well, if this happens or if we do well here or whatever. It was never a question of that. It was, we are going to Diamond. That was the destination, right? So it was a mindset, decision, and a choice in that matter. So I'll add a tip since that was kind of part of this, I think. But one tip I would say then would be anticipate growth to be difficult, anticipate it to be uncomfortable, anticipate it to have some bumps, but know your destination through that. Because if you know where your destination is, then that's just a part of the process. That's just something is going to come, and you know you're going to go through it. And not just to go through it, right? You're not just surviving, you're learning and applying every step of the way because you know where you're going. So that was one part. Brittany, pop in if you need me to stop talking.
I just think it's really interesting that when they said, we're going to the top, you can come too, that you like your first thought was, okay, I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do. Because my first thought was, I wonder how she's going to do that. Like I had all of the questions. I was very, very skeptical. Probably why it took me longer to go Diamond than it did you. Just saying. But I'm impressed by that. I mean, obviously you're very coachable, and that has something to do with your success. So I love everything you said. So smart.
Being coachable is huge, and I was planning on bringing that up at some point, but it is. It was because of that decision. I was therefore coachable throughout it, right? And so you're willing to do the things and be coachable throughout that. Another tip I wanted to add on with that is if you want someone to work hard, to be coachable, to work through things and to show up, then they better have a big reason why they should. And I don't necessarily mean your why, like we talk about a lot, which is absolutely part of it and important, but they have to know where they're going. They have to have a reason to work hard, right? So if they're just getting their products paid for or making a little extra cash, maybe, then why would they want to show up when they got other things going on that they might rather do? Or why would they want to do something uncomfortable that they would be easier to stay safe and stay comfortable, right? So if they have a bigger vision, if they have a bigger place where they're going, Diamond, then you're going to show up through the hard. So asking, maybe you're on this call and are in that boat, or you're working with people and asking, you know, what would an extra $5,000 a month do for you right now? What would you do with that money? What would you do with $25,000 a month? 35,000 more. That's a lot of money. What is it worth it to work hard, to be coachable, and to go through those things if that is your destination? And all your why and what you would do, that all comes with it, right? But is it worth it then? So if it is worth it, then you're going to show up when it's hard. If people aren't showing up when it's hard, then figure out, maybe you got to revisit some of those conversations, you know? So back to my timeline. Okay, I didn't get very far. So I joined in 2015 for June. 6 months from there, I hit senior Ruby. So it was pretty much back-to-back rank ups in the first 6 months. 6 months from senior Ruby was Diamond. So on my exact 1-year anniversary date, I hit, or not Diamond, oh my goodness, Emerald. I hit Emerald. I'm not there yet. So Emerald definitely was not there yet. At that point, I kind of, in the beginning, it was moving fast. So I was like, okay, we're going to keep ranking up month to month. Oh, 6 months to this one. Well, we'll just, in a few months, I'll hit Sapphire, we got it going again. We got the month to month thing coming, and that was my biggest gap from Emerald to Sapphire. It was just under 2 years. I hit in April of 2018 Sapphire, and then exactly 1 year after that, it was 2019 that I hit Diamond. And reflecting back on that, I learned a couple things, just kind of thinking about how my journey went. And it was, excitement is contagious, and that is big. When I knew the least amount about the products, about leadership, about anything, was when we were going back to back rank ups in the beginning. And that doesn't mean that is not extremely important to continue to grow. But in the beginning, it was simply excitement and being coachable, And that was duplicated over and over again. So that excitement is contagious. So you don't have to be, just like when Fallon and Tiffany casted that huge vision and they were silver or gold or senior gold. You don't have to be a big rank or have arrived to be able to say what is possible in this business, and to cast really big vision confidently and share where you are going and bring people along with you.
Can you hang out right there on that point? Why do you not have to be super successful to be able to share the opportunity with people?
Because we know what is possible. We've seen other people do it, right? We are learning from people who've gone before, just what Tiffany and Fallon said. So we have systems, we have things that we are using, that we are duplicating, and we know what's possible. People have paved the way. So if that is possible for them, why not you, right? You know where you're going. We have the systems. You have an incredible team here of leaders you're learning from. So you know where you're going. You can bring everybody along with you, right there with you. And I think that is even more powerful to share when you are in the lower ranks, to be like, hey, we're in this together. We're linking arms. We're going to grow together. We're going to learn together. This is where we're going. Can't wait till we're on the beaches in Hawaii or Mexico, right? So
it was belief. So when you were a silver or gold, you weren't diamond yet, but you knew you were going to be a diamond. What were the types of things you were saying to people about the opportunity to get them interested in working the business with you?
Good question.
I told you I was going to do this, and I'm sorry, but
yeah. I assumed you are the queen of questions. In the beginning, it was, like I said, I kind of knew the least. So I feel like in the beginning, it was more of the excitement of, hey, you can do what I'm doing. Hey, we're going to make some money or get products paid for, or we're doing this or that. And it was just do what I do. And it was contagious in that way. But as I grew, I think I became, this comes as part of like my story and my personal growth, I became more confident in sharing that with other people in terms of, this is where I'm going. I started being more confident in sharing that, specifically in a way where, and this would come, I guess, as I brought in some very strong leaders for the business later. I started calling that out in them. So what qualities was I looking for? What qualities did I see in them? And I would identify that and say, you are this way, have this quality, that quality. You would do amazing with this. I want to do this with you. Or can I tell you more? And so calling that out in other people as I saw in them. And it took a little bit for me to have my own personal growth in that, or to realize that, but that is something that I am very intentional with now and have been for a while.
That's awesome. So casting big vision. You didn't wait until you were hugely successful to cast huge vision for people. And it was because of your belief, which I love. Okay, continue.
Which was borrowed, which was put in me before I even necessarily knew it, So you don't have to even have the hugest confidence in yourself in the beginning, because that is definitely my story. But other people had confidence in me, and other people believed in me, and that went a very long way.
I agree.
So another thing, looking back on my timeline, in terms of wrapping up that question would be, I learned not to be satisfied in, just not to be satisfied for one, like to always be growing, to always be looking, but specifically not being satisfied in who I'm working with, or assuming I am set, assuming I have my ticket to diamond. Here are my workers. We're going to run with each other and we're going to rank up together and we're going all the way to diamond together. And that is where I saw like that biggest gap, between, there's that gap between senior ruby and emerald a little bit. And then from emerald to sapphire and vice versa, each one I can pinpoint a very strong leader in my team that joined in those times after a period of the gap of realizing, okay, I'm comfortable again and thinking, here's my team, but I needed to find new leaders, new people to run, and people who were hungry and very intentional and had those qualities I was looking for, that I was calling out. So not getting to a place of thinking this is who I got, because you guys, unless you have a diamond under you right now, which is only Brittany and Christina, right? So unless you have a diamond under you right now, your first diamond could be someone who's not even joined yet. It could be someone that comes in tomorrow, and you might have some really great leaders on your team right now. That's not discounting them at all, but you never know when that person's going to come in that has great influence and already has years of leadership that they've worked on, or whatever that is. You are growing your own leadership lid and your own self to be able to bring in people. And you never know when that diamond is going to, join you that could not even be with you yet. So that was a huge thing that I learned throughout the years too.
So true. Yep. My story is very similar. I can see periods in my business where I got comfortable and got tired. I mean, eventually, after you're comfortable for a while, you become stagnant. Your points do. And then you get tired of that. And then you decide, oh, I'm willing to get uncomfortable again. And then you go take action and you bring in new people. So I love everything you just said. Totally relatable, especially if you're a jewel. I know a lot of you jewels on here can relate to that. All right. So next question. What were the biggest obstacles you had to overcome during your journey to diamond, and how did you overcome them?
So this question got me thinking of that, and I don't know if the thing that most came to mind, and I don't know if it would necessarily count as an obstacle, but my biggest area of growth where I needed to grow, where it was a big thing that could have really held me back. And, maybe I could have grown faster, of course, but that's my journey, and that's I wouldn't change that. So the biggest area that came to mind were different reflections of leadership, and on all levels, on all accounts. And some of that in the beginning, like I started to share, when I joined, I definitely lacked in confidence in myself easily, worried about what other people thought, very quiet around people I didn't know, more shy, like Brittany said. So this was kind of me starting off very insecure, lacking in confidence. And so things like doing my first team call, I think I literally watched it back not that long ago, and part of it, I didn't sit through the whole thing, oh my goodness, but I spoke in a very monotone voice. I don't think I smiled one time. So this is coming from, have you seen any of your old ones? Am I the only one that was this bad?
Listen, my first team call, I read the entire thing. I read it.
I probably did too. So when I made that decision to say yes to what was asked of me, right, to get to diamond, it was that stubborn mindset that helped me get through those things, from the first, the feelings of being self-conscious, things like that. So from like messages sending out and closing my eyes, to my first post and posting pictures of myself that made me super self-conscious to even post a picture of myself. My first video on YouTube that nobody would see. Brittany, do you remember doing those? Like, hello, my name is Jaime Haskin. I'm a network marketing professional. We had to say that phrase, post it on YouTube. It could be unlisted, but it like terrified me. It was the craziest thing. So anyway, and then all the way to even just more recently, a few years ago, when I hit diamond and at Ruby Retreat in Arizona, I was asked to speak. And even then at diamond, thinking all these diamonds and jewels in the room that I grew up in Plexus watching their training videos, who am I to speak in front of them? They should be up here talking. Like, it just didn't feel like, it was just crazy. So having all of that growth through that in leadership was one of the biggest areas that I had to be very intentional about, because it would have been so easy to be like, well, no, that's not the kind of person I am, or that's not me, that's them, right? Like, oh yeah, they do amazing videos and they can speak so easily. I could never get like that, right? Each of you guys, you each have your own value to add. In comparing or thinking that someone else's success or skills, that there, it does not take away from yours or what you are capable of. It's not them or you, right? It's not me or them. It should use us to inspire us to what we can do, what we can grow into, right? Your dream should scare you a little bit. Your vision should be so big that you have to grow to get into it. If you don't have to grow to get there, then you're not on a big enough journey, right? Your vision's not big enough. We should all be growing very intentionally in that area. So if we hold ourselves back from that, I mean, that's really just limiting ourselves. And at the core of that is just our fear. And we're actually limiting God, right? I mean, that's really what it boils down to, because he's capable of all things and we can do all things through him. So for me, that looked like doing things different instead of staying comfortable, saying yes to those kind of situations, and then taking ownership after that and doing it myself, being proactive myself in that way, not just waiting to be asked, but now taking ownership of things and moving forward in leadership. In whatever area that is, it starts small first, right? And then it grows throughout your journey, depending on, where you're at. So,
And now you're doing a training after training after training for corporate, like company wide. So I mean, it's very inspiring, Jamie, that you said words like I was terrified. And now you are a very highly successful diamond and sought after corporate trainer. So I'm really curious to hear, why did you like not let the fear hold you back? And how did you overcome all of that?
good question. So the first step was simply because I told myself I'd say yes. Simple as that. Like when they asked me to do a team call, I'm like, okay, I have to say yes. So that was just the first step, is okay, I committed to this. This is my mindset. I am going to do the things afraid. But beyond that, I mean, I could have skated by doing the minimal, right? I could have skated by, doing just what I have to do, barely just what I'm asked to do. But that's not where I stayed. So it's having that growth mindset and then learning as you go and applying. So not just doing my first team call and thinking, okay, I'm going to hide until I get asked again, but stepping into that as I learn and grow, knowing that I had value to add. The more I dug in with my people, the more I learned, the more value I had to give. And the more I continued, I started taking ownership of where I was at in the team as a leader, realizing, yeah, I need to show up on calls and on book club and not only just be there and skate by. I need to make sure I've read the book. I need to unmute and talk. I need to show visible leadership. I'm on team calls taking notes. I'm applying things that I'm learning. So just being hungry for that and knowing that that was going to not only help me grow, but help my people. I mean, that's really kind of what it shifted into too. I want to raise up leaders. I want my people to grow. And if I'm not growing and I can't figure out, things or help them, then I'm not helping them move. So I need to learn more so I can help them move, which is kind of specifically where I've been at, the last few years. And in terms of, hitting diamond, that doesn't end hitting diamond. At first I was like, okay, that's the destination diamond, right? You get there. No diamond will say it ends there, because they want every single person there with them. So now it's okay, how can I lead more or differently to get my people here with me? So constantly having that ownership and responsibility to grow in those areas.
So one thing you said that really stood out to me, and this has actually been one of the things that has always impressed me about you, Jamie. You said I could have been okay with just doing the bare minimum to get by. and you've never been someone to only do the bare minimum to get by. You have always gone the extra mile from the very beginning. I just remember, I mean, we didn't have fancy trackers and stuff like that that corporate gives us now, but even from the beginning, a contest would come out. Jamie would be the one creating a tracker for the whole team, or just like any kind of PDF you could want or need, or any kind of graphic, or I mean, Ruby Retreat this year, if y'all were there, it was amazing. You can thank Jamie Haskin for that. Like, she's just always behind the scenes working more hours than anybody else. And so that speaks volumes to me too about your success, Jamie. Do you think that that has something to do with why you are so successful?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe you could get some people at some point and keep moving a bit, but if we're constantly looking for ways to get out or do the least, I think that you're holding yourself back, right? There's so much more that you could step into. And ultimately, God can use us in the biggest ways when we're out of our comfort zone and we're being willing to step into things, right? So how much, not letting that fear hold you back, or if you feel like that is there, then, what could you be stepping into? Where could God be bringing you next if you let go of that, or if you moved forward, or you were intentional in a certain area more? So I think that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with your work ethic, and you definitely set a good example in that area. You work very hard. So I love that about you. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your obstacles that you've overcome?
Um, yeah, I was going to say one more. Learning another thing in terms of leadership is learning to work with, and this could be, like I said, at any rank, wherever you're at, learning to work with people of different personalities and types, and also lead people with different personalities and types. And that can, depending on your own personality, that could be different. For me, that included working or leading people who maybe were more confident than me or bolder than me. And just that was a big growth thing, I think, to work through. And it wasn't always simple, but it comes back to simply just caring about people and influence. That's what leadership is, right? So you gain that by, like you said earlier, Brittany, building trust, showing up for people, following through, adding value. And that helped me grow over time, despite many different kinds of people. And you learn to bring people together in that way too. Learning to coach, which I think is important for everybody at any rank, as you bring people in with you. And for me, that was a huge fear, huge fear. And I didn't want to do it. When we first brought up the concept of getting on and doing a coaching call, I was like, I think I put that one off a little bit. And I didn't want to do it because I thought I had to have the right answer to say in each specific scenario. And I felt very inadequate or nervous or whatever. I didn't feel like a leader, you guys. It took me a long time to really embrace that. And one thing I learned is you don't have to be great at something to just start, right? The way I coach now on a coaching call is completely different than what I did in my first several. I'm more intentional now, but you don't grow, or you don't learn or become who you are going to be at Diamond or wherever in life, by not stepping into something. I learned to ask more questions, to dig deeper, to look for problems. So many times we can avoid problems, right? We don't want to hear the negative. We don't want to know the problems because we think that means that something bad is going to happen. But in order to grow, in order to help someone through and to thrive and to rank up or whatever, we have to identify the problems, right? And then we can find the solutions instead of spinning your wheels and doing the same thing over and over. So learning to dig deeper. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I wasn't looking at my notes.
Really interesting. I'm just sitting here reflecting as I listen to you talk, and you said, in the beginning, I didn't feel like a leader. And in the beginning, you weren't really a leader. Like, honestly, I think people saw you as sweet and shy and quiet, mostly sweet. And so, and I thought you were very sweet. And, you know, I wondered sometimes how you would feel amongst a lot of us who have very strong personalities, you know. And honestly, in the beginning, I didn't see you as a leader, but now, you know, years down the road, because of who you are, Jamie, because of your work ethic, number one, because of the way you serve others constantly. It's like you're a very selfless person and you're always looking for ways to serve or what the needs are that you could fill. And you fill those shoes like without even expecting credit or recognition. And now you've learned so much, like you said, that I look to you as a leader. And even like if I'm, you know, on the advisory board and I want an opinion from a leader that I know is going to give me a leader perspective, I'm going to ask you. And so it's very interesting to me, the progression of how you can go from shy, timid, not much influence to now you're an influencer of a company, top performing diamond in a company, confident, speaking publicly, and now we come to you for advice. And so I just feel like that's proved that it doesn't really matter what your personality is. It doesn't take a certain personality to be successful at this. It just takes a willingness, and you were willing. You're willing, and you always go above and beyond. Okay. So we're a little over time here. So
Yeah, sorry
let's
about that.
see through these last questions. No, don't be sorry. This is really, really good. And I think everybody's getting a ton of value out of this. I'm so glad you're sharing all of this. What's your favorite part of your Plexus business?
Community. That's what I would have always said for a long time, the community. And this is coming from, I had a lot of close friends that I've kept over the years since even middle school. So I didn't necessarily need more friends or community, but this community has been absolutely incredible. The growth that comes through that. But now, and since we've been talking about this, now I would add on coaching and leadership is honestly one of my favorite parts of working in this business right now, which is really hilarious because as you can tell now that is not something I would have ever said before. And in fact, I would say it would have been my weakest areas or biggest fears before starting. So I do want to quick say, a lot of times it said, you know, grow your strengths, right? Focus on your strengths. And that's important, but that doesn't mean it can be very dangerous if you think, okay, well, that's not for me. I'm not like that. This is my strength. I'm going to stay here. Because if I did that, I would not be who I am today or be doing the things I'm doing today.
That's a good point.
You have to get out of your comfort zone and do things that are afraid in order to figure out what your strengths are, right? In order to grow in different areas. And some areas you just need to grow in that come with the territory. You'll find out what your strengths are, and it might not be the same as the next person, you know, next to you, but it doesn't just mean at silver, okay, these are my strengths and I'm going to stay here. So, yeah.
That's so good. Okay. How does your life look different now that you're a diamond?
So some tangible, quick things. We don't stress about things like bills or buying new clothes for my kids instead of going to a secondhand store. I mean, that happened fairly quickly though. Going on trips and not worrying about the bank account. I mean, these things were stuff we'd stress about for sure. Giving back bigger than we ever imagined. But in another way, my husband is focusing now on additional streams of income and looking at retiring early and being able to pour in these things. So really that comes down to allowing us to dream bigger and think bigger. And Plexus has done that with me, certainly through this, but also just as a couple to be now thinking, okay, we don't have these worries. We can actually start diving into these other areas and thinking bigger and how we can do more, give back more, or develop more, or really pour into something that, you know, he wants to now spend his time in instead of his other jobs. And working hard to get to Diamond, I worked really hard to get there. I still work really hard today, but I can take weekends off and unplug, and I can have the time freedom whenever I want to have it. And I sacrificed some of that before, you know, to get there. But now being able to do that while working hard at other times is a huge blessing as well.
Awesome. I love it. I'm so happy for you, Jamie, and I'm so proud of you. I really, really am, and really honored to call you my friend. So last question, and we'll just close out with this. Would you say all of that sacrifice, all of the getting out of your comfort zone, all of the doing things terrified, was it worth it?
Absolutely. And I want to add in, life is going to have hards, right? You're always going to have the hards wherever you're at. We're not in heaven right now, right? God doesn't promise life to be easy. So we get to choose our hard. Where do you want to be in 10 years? It's not going to be where you're at now. You're not a telephone pole where you're stuck, stagnant, not moving. You can choose and move forward in how you want to move forward. God created you in his image. We're capable of more than we often give ourselves credit for. So the worries or doubts or insecurities or shame or fears, God doesn't have those worries for you, the doubts for you, those insecurities. He doesn't have any of that. So give those to him and don't wear that as like a badge of honor, like this is who I am. That is not who you are. So how can you be intentional in moving forward and growing from here? And how is God going to use you even more? So it's not 100% easy or seamless, but it is 100% worth it.
Awesome. So good, Jaime. Thank you so much, friend, for
Thank you for
carving this time out of your busy night. I know there's a million things you could be doing. Thank you for hanging out with us. This was so, so good. And I think everybody is very inspired.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate you all. Love you.
All right. Good night. Bye.